My name is Wedge, it really is, and I've been working at Clearbox Consulting for 6 or 7 years now. I focus on intranet design and use, and Clearbox itself is a specialist consultancy that really only does focus on intranet, the digital workplace, and perhaps internal communications as an integral part of the employee experience. So today we're just going to do a live demo of what SharePoint Online can do. And if you don't currently use SharePoint for your intranet, because there are lots of other choices, and Clearbox can help you find your ideal intranet actually with one of our many services, but I'd like you to take inspiration for your page layout, whether you use Interact or Staffbase or any other intranet system. I'm using SharePoint because SharePoint has a reputation for being dull. Perhaps that's warranted, but SharePoint can be a little bit better, and I can help you make SharePoint a little bit better. So today I've just got a slide of advice, and then we're going to go straight into a real SharePoint Online demo with some great examples and then me actually building something. So number one, when you start wanting to improve your page layout, the idea is that you will have a template, a custom template already in the site that you're dealing with. And so you will want to build that template, and that means building a page and then saving it as a template. I'm not going to show you how to do that because it's technical and you have to get it right, but it's really easy. So the idea is we build these nice pages and then we save an empty one, an empty layout as a template. Then for the rest of your lives, you would start your page or your news post with the appropriate custom template and then amend it to suit your content. And that's what I'll be showing you today, amending a template, building a template, but amending a page design to suit your content. I would say to you, only use SharePoint's default templates if they have the 2/3 column that I'm going to be obsessed about today. The 2/3 column is 2 columns, but one is large and one is thin, and it's ideal. So please look at your default SharePoint page templates. I'm going to show you a couple, and I do not think they're good enough. If you have the good one, great. Microsoft rolls out these things all the time, so you may get improvements in the future. But in the future, you may also get something that SharePoint calls email templates, which are page templates that are suitable for email. And I think it's disastrous. So I would still say to you, why don't we build some custom templates this month, next month, save them in each of our sites, or better yet, have IT help us roll out better page templates in any new SharePoint sites in the future, because it can be automated. I'm going to show you how to do it by hand because I know you want to be in control, but if you have a good relation with IT, they can help you design page templates within site templates for better site deployment. And that's a reminder, point 3. Any template you create is within that site. And a SharePoint intranet is probably made up of 20 to 100 sites. So a page template is not intranet wide. If your SharePoint intranet is made up of 1, 2, or 20 sites, then you should care about the page templates that we're talking about today in every one of those sites. Does that sound painful? Yeah, okay. Well, you need to talk to IT about site deployment with page templates. And I know lots of organizations forget to do that. And that's kind of why I'm showing you how to do things by hand today. Some of you might say, but in the future, Microsoft Copilot is going to design our pages via our AI. And good luck with that. Number one, Copilot is not for everybody. It's an additional cost. So not everyone will have it. But yes, your 30 or 60 page publishers may well get it. And I would say experiment with it, enjoy it. But I would worry that it's going to create troublesome pages that focus on fluff instead of the content. Your mileage may vary. Today's rules and the tips that I'll be showing you are to do with news posts and reference pages, regular content pages for your intranet. there are different rules and tips for landing pages. And you know what I mean by landing page. It's like the first page of a site. I don't mean the homepage of the intranet, but the homepage of HR or the homepage of IT. Those are landing pages, and there are different rules and some better things you can do. And I think I'll show some of those tips next year. But today I'm only dealing with content pages. And why is it so important? Well, these templates help create a consistent user experience across the whole intranet. When I work with clients and regular people across the organization, they don't always know when they're on the intranet. Some people confuse the external website with the intranet. By building a consistent look and feel for every intranet page and every intranet site, we help people feel confident about the information they're getting from the intranet. If you believe that your content is so unique that you can do anything with it and move things around and make it all whizzy, then you're giving tacit permission to all your other departmental publishers to believe that what they're doing is unique and deserves special attention. I think there are exceptional, remarkable pieces of content that require special attention, and you can break the rules. But I think in general, we're trying to build a cohesive, coherent, consistent intranet experience. And that's where good templates and good page layout comes in. And you should probably have a style guide that helps people not use all caps and not use red text. So I'm just going to put these very quickly into the chat. So these are my resources that I'll be showing you today a little bit, but I will send them in the email as well when you get the video. So the first three I'm going to show you right now. The second four, I've just written a style guide helper. I'm relying on line length and readability studies, number two there at the bottom. Some guidance on how to publish and promote a new resource. A lot of people just do a news article and they forget that 6 months later, people still need to find that resource. And my previous content design webinar is on YouTube. All right, let's get into it. So I'm going to show you a bad page in SharePoint, and I hope you recognize it. Then I'm going to show you 3 brilliant pages, which is arguable, and then I'm going to show you how to build stuff. Great, okay, so here is SharePoint. You might recognize it. Here's a page, and it's using a regular SharePoint template, and that means the text is full width. And I think that's problematic. I know for certain that professional publishers don't do a very wide full width template. If you think about your favorite websites, your news websites, your favorite magazines, they use, not particularly columns, but they use a narrow reading width. And that's because it's more comfortable to read. And I've written in detail about readability and comfort reading in the resources that I'll be sharing with you. So let's just have a look at this page, because it starts with a photo and the person, me in this case, has not found the stock image people's heads. And that's because SharePoint will allow you to drag the image, but only so far. If the image was very tall, maybe I can't drag it down to eye level. And that's because I've uploaded a massive photograph straight from the camera or straight from the stock photo website. And so I'm not getting a great view of these people's faces, and that's because I didn't edit the photo first. As I say, this is a full width template, and what we have here is what we all call a wall of text. I mean, I'm already lost. I'm certainly bored. I'm not engaged. And that's because it's full width, it's pure text, there's no hyperlinks, there's no bullet points, and finally I get to the image. But the image probably made sense halfway through the story. But because of my lack of skills or my lack of attention, I've put it at the bottom. And maybe this is pleasing, maybe this is good for some intranets that don't have a lot of images. But that's a screenshot that would have been better somewhere at the top as an example, somewhere in the middle as an example of what I'm talking about. And then at the bottom, I've dumped a load of documents. This is a web part, but instead of specifying which document I want people to open, I've put the whole document folder view in. And I'm kind of saying, hey, find the document that you think is relevant. And I don't think that's a great experience. I don't think people enjoy trawling through document folders of any kind. So that's a bad SharePoint template, and you know where to get it from. It starts here. You get blank, you get visual, you get basic text. Basic text has 2 columns, but they're equal width, which in my book is illegal, because how do you know when to scroll up and when to scroll down? I'll show you the second tab. Here's where you should get your lovely custom template from. It's on the second tab. So we need to train all of our publishers. Don't use the From Microsoft tab, unless you're very, very certain. Use the Saved on this site tab, where you will put templates for your publishers. So let me show you what I consider a stunning intranet page. So I start off with, maybe it's a bit of a waste of space, but I'm using this block heading for impact. I wouldn't use this very large header image for an important or urgent piece of news, but I might use it for a nice to know reference page, something that's helpful to people who are not in life or death circumstances. So it's useful for guidance, I would say, but not for policies or news. So there's my opening sentence, which is a little bit larger, and then I get some paragraphs. Please forgive me for lorem ipsum. I know that's a sin. There's a square image. SharePoint helped me make that square. So even though I uploaded or I grabbed a rectangular image, because I think, Instagram, because I think square is so much cooler, SharePoint helped me crop it itself. So that's pretty cool. Then I get down to like this helpful zone. I'm calling the helpful zone because I've put it in grey horizontally, and on the right-hand side, there are these buttons. Now, those of you who use SharePoint will know that this is the quick links web part, and I've styled it as outline buttons. And then to cut across the page and to break the grid, I could have used a different color, but I've used white here, and I've put in a quote from, who's this? Muriel Moranger. Let's say that's my boss. And that's just putting a nice quote in to give the article a bit of life, but it also breaks up the grid nicely. And then I've got a video section. I've got me. Today, my name is Adam Bradley, but there's my real email address. And I'm just giving you the rule right now. We spell out email addresses in full. If you put my email address on my name, that's going to annoy me because A, it's hard to copy and paste if I want to share it with somebody. B, if I click it, it will launch Outlook, and that'll really slow me down. It might even crash my tiny computer. So I don't want that. If you put a link on my name, I would expect it to go to my profile so you can see all of my details. So please do not put an email link into my name. Please spell out your email addresses, make them clickable as you wish, but spell out the full email address so that people can see it, people can share it, and people know that if they click it, it'll likely launch Outlook. No surprises. So there's my video, that's direct from YouTube, it really does work. And this is nice, okay. So this is a long page. To the right-hand side, you'll see there's a tall photograph. That's a direct upload. I've just whacked it into SharePoint and uploaded it. But the point is, there's text over it. Now some marketing people, like myself, would use an image editing app, piece of software like Photoshop, to add text to an image so that we can then tweet that image. So, these promo images you see on LinkedIn, these promo images you see on Twitter are real graphics. People have spent time building these graphics. Please don't do that with your intranet. Instead, put up your usual normal photograph as you wish, and then use the overlay tool that SharePoint will give you to add real, readable, and editable text. It's editable, which means I can change it if I've got a typo or if something changes next week. And it's readable by the immersive reader or any assistive technology that somebody might be using for accessibility reasons. The other thing I've done down here is kind of useful as well. This is another button of some kind, and I'm linking to a PDF. Now, you might use the PDF icon to indicate that, but I think there's a lot of icons. I think I think icons can be difficult to discern. So what I've done here is I've said service brochure download PDF. 1.3 megabytes. Now, 1.3 megabytes isn't very large by today's standards, but you know what? If it was 33 megabytes, which is really easy to do with PowerPoint and Word and PDF, I would like to be warned. I literally might be on my iPad on a train, or even worse, I might be in the field on my phone, because yes, the SharePoint app is available, and as long as you've got security, you can access the intranet via your phone often if your company allows. And if I see 33 megabytes there, I've got to decide, do I have time to download that? And I'd like a warning that it's a PDF, because again, people expect pages, and if it's a PDF, it's going to open in some kind of app, or it's going to open in the browser, and I need to be aware of that. Oh, and look at that graph. Did you see it just quietly move? So that's a real SharePoint graph. I put in some data, and I told it to do either a bar chart or a pie chart. I like the pie chart. It's almost a pyramid. I couldn't get the sky right, but I got pyramid and shade and pyramid and sun. And then I broke the grid a little bit, or I expanded the design. I put the text on the right-hand side. I wouldn't normally put so much text on the right-hand side, because as you know, I like my text on the left-hand side. That's the text area. The right-hand side is for supporting information and links. However, if the graph is the main piece of content, that's where the communication is, then the right-hand side text just explains the graph nicely. So it's ancillary, really. And then I break the grid again with a really nice deep blue full width section. And then we go into documents. And here I've used the Word icon, and the PDF icon, and even the PowerPoint icon. So these may well be series documents, but even so, I've still said Word, 400 kilobytes, PDF, 1.1 megabyte, PowerPoint, couldn't quite fit it in, PowerPoint, so I put PPTX. You can argue with me if people know what that acronym means. It's the file system for PowerPoint, 23 megabytes. So I'm warning people, you know, the Word document will open quickly, but the PowerPoint, it's going to take a minute. And then I finish with like a brand or fun image. I've matched the color. That wasn't easy to do, but I've matched the color so it kind of feels transparent. Can't get it full width on a large screen. So you can see what I'm trying to do. Maybe you don't like it. Just a try. And then to end with, we've got things to do next. So the idea is to provide a call to action or your next best bet, because we want people to act on our communications and our content. We want people to act. So when they finish something, they should have a next step, or they should have an idea of where else is related. So here I've got 3 places to go. Now, if you prefer the top, the big one, go for that. If you prefer the bottom one, which is smaller, just go for that. I'm showing you both because A, I think you can make a good choice between large and small, but funny enough, they look cool to me. I wonder if I could get away with keeping it as it is. And if that's too cool for school, I've got 3 boring ones instead, which are still interesting to look at and help a person choose what to do next. So if you look in the link I gave you, this page, you can see it yourself. It's the very long content page example, but I'm giving you a copy of this page so you can see what I've done and review it in your own time. In comparison, here's a regular page. So not too long, not overly long. A very long page might be great for a new product, a new initiative, or a new service that you're trying to explain to your colleagues. Here's a regular page for your sort of guidance or information. So I've got a nice square image with real editable text over it. Got my quote from my boss again. I've got my useful section with links in the quick links in the button style, and they're to pages. So I haven't said PDF, haven't said Word or anything like that. I've used individual icons that all go to intranet pages. And then I've got my 3 buttons here. One of them is a PDF. The other 2 are not. They're probably pages. And then I've chosen one call to action, kept it nice and simple. So I'm not being too cheeky there, not being too silly. But as you can see, for a regular length page that might explain something or tell people something, that's a much more interesting page than the usual SharePoint template. Some of you will tell me that this is still too long for a news post. I get that. You know, gone are the days where we would write 800 words to explain something. We are now doing updates. We're doing bulletins at 300 words. So here's my short version, which I hope you'll think is much more manageable. So I've still got a nice square image. I might have made it a touch smaller in SharePoint. I've done my nice, very large text, full width quote. It's not a quote, but it's an exhortation this time to break up the grid. I've done my useful bit with 4 buttons to pages, and I've done my next steps. Call to actions is what SharePoint calls them. So this is a much shorter page, suitable for a bulletin. But the important thing is, even if your bulletin is 400 words or 300 words, I would say to you, please put in a subheading anyway. You're going to probably change topic halfway through your comms. You're probably going to hone in on the context or the background or the reasons why this change has happened. And so please give people a heading 2 or a heading 3, and maybe give people bullet points as well, because people are looking for keywords, hyperlinks, bullet points, subheadings, documents, and maybe bold and italic words as well. So as I scroll down this very short page, which would be great for a news article, you can see I've opened with larger text. That's my opening paragraph. It's not illegal. You can do it. There's a link, there's a bold, there's this marvelously large exhortation that breaks up the grid. There's a heading, there's more bold, there's bullet points, there's helpful pages, and there's next steps with call to actions. So there's a lot going on, and you can simplify that. So that's what we're going to do now. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to design a page from scratch to show you how to get these columns in. So starting with the front, and oh my word, don't we all recognize this design? I think this is getting very tired. But anyway, let's create a new page. So I create a page or a news post, doesn't matter which, it's all the same templates, but SharePoint treats them differently after you publish them, as you know. I'm going to click page, and I'm going to select blank, I think. And let's have a look at this. So yes, this is a very dull standard SharePoint page. So I'm just going to call this a new nice page, get that in nice and quickly. So the point is, I want to draw your attention to this horizontal section. I've clicked in it, and you can see on the left-hand side, there are edit section, move section, duplicate section, and delete section. The idea is that this has one text box in it, which I've just clicked on now. So that's no good, you know, I hate it. So the first thing we have to do is edit the section, and my editing pane appears on the right-hand side. We need to get used to this. The editing pane is really useful and convenient across SharePoint. And you know, do not use 2 columns. I've just clicked it now. Don't use this unless you're doing a landing page or you're doing something really, really special and remarkable. I'm not going to go. I don't think it's great. I think it's very print. And when we use print techniques, it can get very confusing for people as to where things start and where things stop and where they're scrolling up and scrolling down. So the one we always want to use is this one, 1/3 right. That's because it gives us a marvelous large area that's a good reading width on the left-hand side. Then it gives us a right-hand side column for supporting information, ancillary content. So I'm really happy with that. I've got text box already. I've got nothing on the right-hand side, but I'm happy with that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press duplicate on the left-hand side. I'm going to hit that button, and now I've got 2 sections and 2 columns. And this is perfect for a small piece of content. Now on the right-hand side, I'm probably going to want an image, and so I have to put that in myself if it's not already in the template. I can search for it, or SharePoint can offer it directly there. I've used it before. There it is as well, image. And SharePoint immediately wants to help me by saying, hey, what image do you want to put in? This is a bit overwhelming. Maybe I'm not ready to do this, but I am. So looking on the left-hand side, I could do a web search, but that would probably end up stealing somebody's real work. So I'm going to use stock images or upload, unless I go into site and look for images that I've already uploaded in the past. But I promise you, that is a little bit of a rabbit warren. You do have to kind of know which page they would have been in. Not ideal, Microsoft, not ideal. So I'm going to look at stock images, and I want something that's going to be suitable for square. I like those toothbrushes just fine, but let's have a look for happiness. We're all searching for happiness, are we not? Look, are they sweets? Sweets make me happy. There it is as an oblong, as a rectangle. But you know, this is the Instagram age, and I think a nice square just works so much better. So I'm using SharePoint itself to crop and change the aspect ratio to square. And we have to be patient here. There's my preview, I like that. I think I need to click away onto empty space to make it do it. So I'm doing that now, I'm being patient, and yes, I'm happy with that. Can I make it a little bit bigger? Let's see, resize, drag, yes I can. And now here's the overlay. Add your text here, you can add a total of 48 characters. So the fewer the better, so that the words don't disappear on a small screen. Sweets make me happy. And now I'm just going to very quickly show you that I want to do the alternative text, the alt text. So that would be piles of sweets for sale, I think. Piles of sweets for sale. And I would spend a bit more time doing that, explaining the purpose of the image as well as what it looks like, the context. I'm just doing that quickly for us now. So that's cool. Now I'm going to grab my content and I'm going to copy this from my web page here. It's jumping around a bit. And I'm going to paste it in here. And I see the text has kept the bold on that last line, and I'm happy with that. If you're not happy with the styling that's come over, use the ellipsis menu, the 3 dots menu, and open it up, and you see clear all formatting here. I'm going to click it now. It's really useful when you're copying and pasting from Word or from emails or from PowerPoint. It just means that you're pasting text in and making it nice and clean for SharePoint. So that's really cool. And because we're allowed to, I'm going to make the opening paragraph a bit bigger. And I'm just going to choose my opening sentence by making that go down and then creating that to 20, because I think that looks much better. Next thing I want to do is add the quick links. And again, I'm on the right-hand side in my second section, and it's that section which is crucial. So quick links for a button, I'm going to search for it, quick links. And before I add the link, I'm going to style it. So I'm going to edit the web part before I edit the link, if you see what I mean. Or maybe I'll add the link and edit it afterwards to see what I like. But I know I'm going to love button, and I love outline already. So that's ready for me. Icon on the left, outline. 1 line or 2 lines? I'll go for 1 line just now. I'm going to grab my URL from my browser, because you need that before you press the add a link button, unless you're doing a document or you want to allow SharePoint to search for you. So let's see what SharePoint will do for me if I press add a link. So there's recent, that's quite good. And then the site, that's good. So I can go to all my site pages and select, yes, that's good, a stunning and long page. Let's add that. Am I happy with that? The icon is a SharePoint page icon, so maybe that's perfect. Maybe your style guide says link to intranet pages and leave the icon alone. I'm going to mess with it. I'm just going to click the icon, press change icon, and I'm going to use this library that SharePoint gives me, and I'm going to look for website or screen. That's not a very good page icon. Page. That's almost like a page. So that's quite good. I'm going to add another link to an external, and I'm pasting in this link. Remember, I grabbed it before I came here, and I grabbed this link by going to the page I wanted and grabbing, copying and pasting, copying that address from the address bar of my browser. And I press add, and I wait for SharePoint to try to give me a little bit of a preview. It might give me an icon that's suitable. Oh, that's a bit slow. There we are. Okay, so it's given me no title. So I'm quite upset about that. So I'm going to put in line length advice. And I'm going to change the icon to, actually, the globe is kind of useful because that suggests that it's external perhaps. And it is an external link, so you might want that in your style guide as well. Now, should I give the quick links a heading? You can do. I'm not going to myself. I'm just going to get the next block of my content. Jumping around a bit, excuse me. And am I worried about anything coming across? So I'll just clear all formatting. It looks the same. I'm really happy. So now it's about the header. Am I happy with overlap? Would I prefer image and title? It really is just your choice, but I'm not choosing color block because it takes up so much space. So if this is an important page that I expect people to really need this week, then I think it's polite or useful to give them a small image. So let's do that. Browsing images. Now I'm going to do a stock image search, and I'm still going to search for happiness, but I want people this time. Oh yes, they look industrious and happy. Now, can I get their eye line? So now I'm going to hit the set image focal point button, and I'm going to drag up and hope that there's enough. Yes. I don't think that was great. I think I've maybe made her look a little bit small. But that's kind of good. So I'm going to save as draft and sense check my work. So I've got a title, got an image, I've got my name, haven't got the date. Why haven't I got the date? Because the template hasn't got the date in it. So I need to ensure that the date is switched on. If you know how to turn the date on, because I've already been to page details, let me know. I do apologize, but this is live, so excuse me. I'm in the page details right now because I thought the date was here. And this is where you put the description. You see the thumbnail matches the header, which is usually a good idea. So I'm really happy about that. But here's how to create happiness at work. Now, I could go longer if this is a reference page, but because it might show up as news occasionally, I'm going to keep it short. It's very important to have a very short description on your internal comms daily news. You can go much longer for your content reference pages. And as I was sense checking, I forgot my heading to title. So I'm just writing that in, and then no bold, I don't do anything by hand. I use the drop-down menu to change it to heading 2. So I'm going to press save as draft now and sense check my work. I'm really happy with that, except for the white space, the empty space. I'm training myself to say empty space instead of white space. In design, we used to say white space, but it gets confusing because space can be any color. So what am I going to do? I'm going to make my image a little bit smaller. So resize, get the corner, make that smaller. Save as draft, sense check. And I'm okay with that spacing now. It is 2 sections. So that's how we deal with regular comms and regular reference pages to make a more consistent experience for the end user. We want the right-hand side to give them next steps or useful information that supports what's going on the left-hand side. And the reason this is important is because this reading width, which I'm just highlighting now, this reading width is closer to the ideal that people like to read. If you look at your favorite websites, news articles and magazines, you'll see they don't go very wide because you end up having to move your eyes too much or even your face. It's just too weird. So in general, over the years, we've found readability and user experience research results show us that we want a comfortable reading width. And the default SharePoint templates often do not offer us comfort. So I'm showing you how to change those sections so you get the 1/3 right. And this will give us a nice reading experience. And don't worry if you haven't got too much for the right-hand side, you're still deploying a nice reading experience which is the important thing to do. So I'm pressing publish, copying that link. Thank you very much. And that looks good in my book. Yes, it's missing hyperlinks. Yes, I haven't put any bold or italics in there, but I would always use bold and italics very sparingly. If I just return to my regular page to show you that, yes, I know my regular page is spectacular, but the page I've just shown you is only missing that full width quote and bullet points and the call to actions. So by using a really simple 2-column layout, you can amend it each time to suit the content that you're dealing with. You can be more whizzy, you can be more interesting and engaging. We're gonna go to Q&A. Thank you, Chris. Yes, telling people a document is very large, 5 megabytes, is still useful because they might be on their phone or they might be worried their little laptop will collapse under a 50 megabyte PowerPoint, which absolutely does happen in my life. Lauren, you're asking about related links at the bottom. Yes, I would suggest setting them by hand. SharePoint can probably generate some related links for you if you've got the right web parts. Maybe that's cool and groovy, but what I'm talking about is being entirely useful and giving people the next steps based on what they've just read. Nothing is alone in this world. Everything is related to our company's past or our employees' futures. And so I would suggest to you to hand curate where you would like people to go next. One of the things I used to say in web design and intranet design is no page should be a cul-de-sac. So if I'm driving into a cul-de-sac, I just have to stop. I've finished my journey. It's weird. The web isn't a finished journey. You never get to the last page of Wikipedia and go, oh yes, I'm done. There's always something more that can take you further down the rabbit hole. Our intranets are webs, they are not books, they're not linear. So yes, please hand curate the next steps. You could use a nice image, but you could use the call to action web part, or indeed quick links for links to pages and documents. Thank you, Chris, for liking my square images. Yes, you can edit images before you upload them to SharePoint, but SharePoint will help you crop them. Just remember, if you crop them, it becomes a brand new image, and you will have to do the alt text, the accessibility text, the description once again. Jamie suggests that you can suggest to people that they should open a link in a new tab. If I was making a link that forced the document or the page to open a new tab, I think it's good to warn people. So I do square brackets, opens in new tab. Otherwise, a person is always free to right-click on a link and choose to open it in a new tab. And that's what I like people to do. In fact, I would like to upskill people and to train people and help our colleagues choose when to open a link in a new tab. John says that the date is in the header web part. Thank you very much. I was in page details. Everyone forgets page details. I am obsessed with page details, but thank you, John. It was in the header. So my bad there, we've got to add that. Thank you, Chris, you said that as well. Oh yes, so Graham is talking about a content summary page. He's called it a gateway page. So a content summary page is a page that offers 1 or 2 PDFs or Word documents. And the content summary page explains when, why, and what the document is dealing with. We see this a lot in government websites and UK government intranets. The idea is that the search engine and humans, your colleagues, love landing on a page and going, is this what I need? Do I need the document? Yes, I do. I've read the bullet points. I need the document. I will choose to open the document. What search engines and humans hate doing is suddenly being thrown into a PDF at the top and not knowing what they're supposed to be there for. So Graham says he's developing gateway pages for every PDF that his company publishes. In content design, Graham, you know this already. In content design, we often call it a content summary page. It can have a slightly different template. And the idea is that every major document that employees need should have a summary on a page so they can read the summary and decide, oh yeah, this is relevant, or oops, go back, this is the wrong one. Oh, Emma says that no one's using the SharePoint intranet as an intranet. They're all using it for storage of files. My heart weeps for you. I would say, Emma, may I ask, are you the internal comms department? Is it all you, or do you have a team? Let's build an intranet. Nobody goes to Wikipedia and expects Word documents or PDFs. A website, Wikipedia, our intranet should be made up of pages as beautiful as the regular and long page that I've shown you today. Graham asks, what about adding a title to the top of quick links? I've just had a look at my quick links, and if there's space aesthetically, go for it. If there isn't space aesthetically, make a decision. I generally like labeling things because we should be grouping items. Those items might be Word documents, those items might be links, those items might be, I don't know, people's profiles or photographs. We should be grouping things by what makes sense, not just alphabetically. And so if we group something, we should give it a title so that people know what we're talking about. This, for me, Graham, this is especially important on intranet homepages and site landing pages such as HR, IT, procurement. Whatever you build a block of things that are similar, label that block of similar items. So Graham, yes on quick links, let's probably give our quick links a title, but never the phrase quick links. Never, never, never. Thank you, Tracy. Bye for now. Karen says, how do you save the news page you created as a template to reuse? Of course you must do this. I can't show you today. It's slightly technical. I promise you it's really easy. But the reason I'm not showing you how to save as template is because I want you to get the URL correct, the file name correct. And if I showed you quickly, I know you'd be annoyed with me for not showing you how to change the name to something useful. But you can Google it. Microsoft will help you. The Microsoft website will help you. But when you're designing a page layout and you're doing it nice and empty, not with lorem ipsum, not with real text, but if you're designing a page layout, and I suggest you should design several different options, when you're designing a page layout, instead of pressing save, use the drop-down arrow that's still there and press save as template. It really is that simple. But in the future, I want to show you how to do that properly so that the URL, the file name, the name of your template is correct, because I know you'll be annoyed if it says something random. Luke Jones, I can guess what this question is going to be. When you amend a page template, does it update all pages that currently use that template? Luke, I've heard that question for 10 years because people are used to content management systems like Sitecore or something really expensive from Adobe that your company uses externally. So you're guessing the answer is no. A site template merely helps people build a new page. There's no linking, there's no inheritance, it's not a parent and a child. So that means if, because of today, you're going to update your templates, this is about improving the intranet going forward. There's no retro improvements. Thank you, Luke. Great question. Chris says that he hides documents in libraries. Absolutely. And he's hiding them from search. So Chris is suggesting that he doesn't want, his company does not want people doing a search and landing nakedly on a Word document or PDF. I am surprised by that, but I understand because people love pages. So if you've got great content summary pages, I can understand why the search engine should lead a person to content on a page, and then they can choose the document. Thank you for that tip there, Chris. Hiding documents, wow. Excellent session, says Lauren. Okay, thank you. Pass on my tips. Yes, please do. So help your content contributors with the templates that I'm suggesting you design. And if you haven't got great templates or you're unsure about it, then help people choose to edit their sections. We do not want a wall of text. We want multiple horizontal sections, and we want that 2/3 right for great reading experience with just helpful stuff on the right-hand side. And Nick asks, what do I recommend for the call to action web part to distinguish it between call to action text and button text? I know exactly what you mean. This is slightly technical. For those of you who may not know the call to action web part very well, it has two text parts. They look very similar. The first text part is about yay long, and the second text part is supposed to be the button, the thing you're asking people to click. But if you make the button text long, it will look just like your call to action text. So my advice, Nick, is that the button text has to be the action words. And I don't really want those action words to be read more or click here. We never say click here. So in a way, the action words have to be the thing a person does. Apply now, download brochure, submit news. And that allows your call to action text to be 5 or 6 or 7 words to explain what you're asking people to do. But the button text should be 2 words. If it's too long, it will just look like text again. And this is because SharePoint isn't perfectly designed. Buttons don't always look like buttons. And that's why we've got to help people, usually with great UX writing, short words, or with the quick links styled as buttons. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, Chris. I'm very glad. Hi there, Sharon. That's all your questions, I think. I will thank you for accompanying me today. I will